All right. Hi, everybody.
Dan?
Here. That's Kyle. I don't know if he's
Hello.
up for you guys. I never know how this works, um,
Over here, this way, that way.
but I'm still Dan and he's still Kyle. So no matter your blue shirt, we need those little things like when they have like the soccer matches. If you guys all watch the World Cup, it has a little color next to the person's name. All right. I digress. Sorry to sidetrack. Hello, everyone, and thank you guys for being here. As always, we are very excited to continue our series on AI. I'm going to give folks just a couple more minutes here just to join in, as always. But again, I'll always start with a thank you. Really, really important that you guys, actually, just really grateful that you guys spend some time. It's really important for us to do this, but it's great. We're grateful that you guys come and spend some time with us and talk or listen to us talk to you about some of the things that we're doing. Again, exciting time for everybody, especially in telecom with AI agents. My day is primarily full of meetings to talk about these right now. And so, and to be fair, I'm learning every day, and we as a team are learning every day about some of the things that can be done and also how to do a good job of it. So we thought we would share that knowledge. I think our initial AI phone calls or AI agent phone calls, we're taking close to an hour. Made note of that we had one the other day that lasted about 22 minutes. We covered absolutely everything that we possibly needed to cover with this person, and we are currently working on their agent right now for POC. And so we're going to share that with you guys today. It'll probably take actually longer than 22 minutes to actually have this meeting, even though it shouldn't be that way. That's probably the way that it'll go. So I've seen a lot of folks come in, so let's do a little bit of housekeeping. And thank you guys again for being here with us. So down at the bottom, you'll see links. And in the links, we have all links related to AI. Our links usually are support and how you reach us and previous webinars and so on and so forth. However, this is a little different. So we have a link to last month's intro to AI agents webinar, which a little hint, you can click on that and then find all of our other webinars. We have a link to book an AI agent meeting, if that's something that you guys would like to do. We have an AI agents ebook link as well. And then there's an AI readiness checklist that you can click on as we go through this. When you get to the end of it and you say to yourself, do I think I'm ready for an AI agent? You can go click that checklist, take a look at it, and then either reach out to support, reach out to Kyle, reach out to myself. Let's go ahead and start you down this path here of getting you an AI agent. So again, very excited. I'm going to just talk quickly about what we're learning. Then I'm going to hand it over to Kyle, and then we're going to do this like back and forth thing, like we're playing tennis, and we're going to get this thing going. So. What are we learning today? Well, why AI initiatives stall, finding your AI insertion point. POCs are proof of concept for those who don't know. If I keep saying POC, you can throw in the questions and comments. By the way, if you put anything in the questions and comments, only Kyle and I see them. So if you guys want to have some fun and tell me what you thought POC stood for before I told you, that's great. But proof of concept, pitfalls, scaling, managed solutions. As you guys all know, if you're Votacall customers, Votacall clients, and for those of you attending this who aren't Votacall customer, aren't Votacall clients, we are a fully managed solution. For the life of your contract, you have access to our 24/7, 365 stateside support team, and that includes AI agents. So we're not just having you fill in what you wanted to say and throwing it up on a website. I will talk to you about some of the reasons why that is a bad way to deploy an AI agent in a minute. You can also just go out and read on the internet about how many AI agents get turned off, and et cetera. And that's going to be why, because they're not managed. And then Votacall resources and training materials. So we're going to cover all that. But I'm going to go catch my breath, and I'm going to hand this over to Kyle. So here we go. Kyle.
All right. Sure. So AI is generating curiosity and excitement across most industries. Many organizations know they should probably explore AI, but aren't sure where to start, which can be pretty tough. And I think a great starting point is your phone system. And with Votacall, we provide that managed experience. So today we're going to discuss a practical framework for launching AI agents successfully, basically turning your AI curiosity into measurable business outcomes without getting overwhelmed. So one of my favorite quotes is less is more. And I think that applies here as well, because you want to start small and win early. Kind of think of it as when you're starting as like version 1 or beta, and the goal is proving value quickly, but not creating the perfect AI experience immediately. So part of the adoption framework would be identify one narrow use case, which we're going to go over those here shortly, build a proof of concept, that POC, test and refine, measure your outcomes, and scale based on success. Another great quote down here is don't replace the whole system, improve one process first. So again, start small and win early is a key point to AI adoption.
Mm-hmm. And I would just add to that, think about an AI agent when you're hiring an AI agent. Think about it as an employee. You're bringing a new employee into your business. Are they going to know everything that you know on day one? Absolutely not. Are they going to be able to handle every kind of phone call that you can handle on day one? Absolutely not. So think about them, but what could they handle on day one? Let's bring them in. Let's teach them a certain subset of things that they can do. Let's simplify the process. So keep it simple, stupid. KISS, as all you guys have all heard before. We talked about that in our last webinar, which there's a link to, by the way, down there in the links section that you can click on. And as we talked about AI agents, but AI adoption, I think that's a great, what's here is a great way to think about it. But keep it simple, start small. It can learn over time. And because we are a managed solution, we're going to help it learn over time. It's not something that you're just turning on and it does what it does, and that's all it can do. Hey, could it do this? Hey, could it do that? We get those emails every day from the people that we've turned on AI agents for and that we're elaborating. We had one customer start with one. They're up to about 40 different AI agents right now because of the nature of their business that handle different segments. And we can talk about that use case another time, or if you book a meeting with us, we'll tell you a little bit more about it. So why do companies get stuck? Well, AI paralysis. One of our first AI clients that we brought online, and they actually only came online recently. I'll be honest, I thought I was super smart and I had coined this term AI paralysis. I hadn't, but it was what we were experiencing. And so it's good to know that there is a term for what was actually happening to us. It made you feel better. Like when you go to the doctor and they tell you that the thing that you have is this, and this is how we get rid of it. And so it was good to be able to go read that. But what was happening during these conversations is the client was just, their brain was just going, well, we could use it for this and we could do that with it and we could do this with it. And as it grew and grew and grew and grew and started getting connected to databases and it was passing information to this and it could do that, it got stuck because it grew so big that no one knew where to start. And that's why we say, keep it simple, start it small. Think of it as a new employee that you're bringing in. Yes, could you give a new employee, the model of the generators that you're supporting and tell them, here, give them the instruction manual and try to that's not a good idea because they don't know anything about it, right? So keep it simple, keep it small, and get it going. So success comes from narrowing the scope, not expanding it. Let's get started. Okay. So Kyle, I believe you're taking over here.
Sure. So you want to find your insertion point, and usually the best starting point is often where nobody's currently available to help the customer, perhaps. So some areas would be maybe after hours calls, lunch coverage, appointment scheduling, and lead intake. What we're going to focus on here and what we're seeing a lot of people go with is after hours call handling. Basically, again, those coverage gaps, after hours, lunchtime coverage, where nobody's there available to take the calls. So as an example for after hours, before you have an AI agent, calls will go unanswered after hours. You might be missing leads and opportunities. Callers are forced to wait to the next day. You're not capturing any information after hours. And then sometimes frustrated callers won't call back the next day. But once you have an AI agent, Every call is going to be answered every single time. AI agents are going to capture that information automatically. AI agents can prepare that information for morning staff. You're going to improve your customer experience overnight. You're going to have clear, measurable ROI from day one, return on investment. If you didn't know what that is, put that in the questions tab. Dan, anything you want to add to that?
No, I think that that's important. When you're thinking about an AI agent, you are thinking about obviously value. Where does it add value? I think the big concern everybody has with AI is, oh, I don't want to replace my people. Well, we're not looking to replace your people. The bottom line is no one's there when the business closes. So why is that a great place to insert an AI agent? Well, it's because you were missing calls at that point. You weren't handling calls the right way. You were getting incomplete voicemails in the morning. You didn't know what leads to prioritize when you came back in. There's a lot that an AI agent can do in those sorts of windows when before you were just kind of letting it go to voicemail boxes. Do people even leave voicemails? Do they just say, oh, I'll call back in the morning? And so, you're thinking about where can it add value? Well, it can add value by taking calls in those off hours. Now, we're finding that the biggest windows for off hours where AI agents are answering are in that window from, let's say you close at 5 o'clock, from 5 o'clock to 5:30. And let's say you open at 8 a.m. from 7:30 to 8. Huge amounts of calls of people trying to reach you in those moments and not being able to because they just forgot to call you in time, et cetera. So we have a lot of different ways to turn something like this on. And so it is a great way to do it. So before you deploy, what kind of key questions should you be asking yourself? So again, what types of calls could AI handle? So what is it capable of? Again, think about it as an employee that you just brought in. What could they do for you starting right now? What kind of information are we looking to collect? Is there anything that we're doing that's mundane? That it is just, hey, we have a checklist. A lot of the agents we're building for folks are that sort of thing, right? And like an intake agent. Okay. We actually have a checklist. The beauty of this, creating that agent for us, is that we always say to people, well, do you have a form that you have people ask the questions of? And they say yes, and they send it over to us. Well, there's your AI agent. It's already built. We just have to humanize it a little bit. Okay, so what information needs to be collected? When should AI escalate to a human, and let that happen? We have folks who don't tell people it's an AI agent, right? And they just let it answer questions and ask questions and go. We have other folks who say, I want to let my people know, my customers, my clients know, hey, I'm the AI agent and I can gather some of this information for you so that when we call you back, it's a more complete call. Do you mind talking to me, or would you like the voicemail? All right. So again, when should I escalate? When should I send it to voicemail? When should I try to get a human on the line? What are the criteria for booking an appointment versus taking a message? And again, we are able to do that. And then what happens when A encounters an unexpected request? And so we can handle some of those things as well. But that's why having a managed solution is really important, because as we find out that AI did something that we didn't expect it to do, we can immediately add guardrails. And then through our AI team, and we have a data scientist, someone with a master's in data science on staff. We have multiple folks. We actually have models built that test our agents behind the scenes. So once we do find something that AI did that we weren't sure about, or we're not sure why it did it, we'll actually go through and actually press that model against it until it reaches 100% certification that won't ever happen again. Okay, so, and that's what testing teaches us, right? So real POC lessons. Things that we discover during testing and not after launch. And that highlights why a POC is really important. Again, that's a proof of concept, and it's something that we set up for every one of these. The way that our process works, by the way, if you decide to go into our links and book a time to start talking about this, or you go through the checklist later and you reach out to support, we'll do a discovery call with you and start to talk about a few different things. Okay, first of all, what are the tasks that you're thinking about, or that, and we'll start to ask you some questions to see if we can identify those. We will look for that insertion point, and we're going to cover that a little bit more in just a moment. Where can it turn on? Is it after hours? Is it, Kyle mentioned lunchtime? That's a great one, right? When somebody gets up and walks away from the desk, how do we transfer calls now? Okay, well, we don't need to go find somebody who's in the back office to do that anymore. We can have the AI answer and direct those phone calls. And so the lessons that we're starting to see during a POC are, hey, it did this, or it transferred a call that I didn't expect to get transferred. Okay, let's go figure out why that is. Or, hey, it connected someone to the after hours on call person, and we didn't expect that to happen on this one. Okay, let's go figure out why. What question didn't we ask the right way? We had a customer during a POC just recently tell us it told someone that we offered a course that we don't offer. And what we learned was that, well, the knowledge base that we were using to figure out what courses they offer was their website. And there were some things that were written slightly ambiguous on their website that were creating that, what they call an AI hallucination, right? Which is AI telling someone something that isn't there. Well, we immediately found that in the POC and said, well, it's because of this. And so let's adjust that and tell it, what's happening here in your documentation. But again, that is the beauty of a managed solution and also the beauty of a POC. Okay, so what is the risk within deploying something like this? And we just mentioned the first one there, right? An AI hallucination. And that is thinking that AI wants to be helpful, by the way. It wants to solve your problem. And that is something to always keep in mind. Is that it does want to solve the problem. If we didn't tell it what your main phone number is to call back in the morning, there's a really good chance that it might give you a phone number that is incorrect. But we've learned that through time, and that will never happen again. That actually did happen once. Yeah, right. Incorrect call routing. It routes to someone that it shouldn't. Okay, but again, these are all things that once you establish or you run through a POC, we determine the guidelines for, and then we make it do what it's supposed to do. Poor escalation decisions, again, for after hours routing. We have a bunch of agents out there right now that are doing after hours routing, and they're sending callers to on-call folks. Again, we're replacing a lot of answering services. We're starting to see, because the answering service didn't do a very good job of poor escalation decisions either, by the way. A lot of these are human traits that are within AI, meaning I called in and I said, no, it's an emergency. You have to connect me to the on-call person. I really need to pay my bill. Right? That's not an emergency. Unnatural customer experiences. Sometimes voices will speed up or escalate, or use potentially as they ask a question, might use a tone that doesn't feel good to some of the clients. Again, these are all things that can be adjusted. So when you think about an AI agent, you can adjust how human do you want it to try to be? Do you want it to have empathy or not have empathy? Do you want it? And there's a balance there as we start to find these things. But this is part of everybody's AI agents, not just Votacall's. The difference here with us is that we're going to help you try to manage those things. And then privacy and compliance concerns. So how do we fix that? Well, we do controlled testing. We define business rules, and then we have human oversight, and then continuous refinement. And then you see Votacall there in orange with the big exclamation point, because yay, Votacall. We, again, are a managed solution. For those of you guys who have interacted with our support team before or in the past, you know that we are going to be different than some of the other big box stores out there, and our agents are going to be different than the big box store agents out there. And I think it's important for us to cover that with you guys. So I am once again going to attempt to catch my breath and lead you through the 5 phases of a successful AI agent implementation and rollout. And so, Kyle, I'll hand it back over to you.
Well, sorry, before you catch your breath, I think that was a good lead into a question that came in. Are we using a third-party AI?
No. So, well, it's a mixed solution, and the reason I say that is, yes, we have our own AI servers. From a voice perspective, we are using 11 Labs because we find 11 Labs to be the best voice out there. From an AI model, we support a lot of the different models that are out there. And so it really comes down to what do you need your agent to do and what needs to happen. Now we have our own integrations and that we're building as well to tie into things like HubSpot, and our marketplace is beginning to grow as we do more and more of these. So it is mixed, and that's the way that we want to do this. We've spent a lot of money on AI servers, and we do have our own infrastructure, but there are people who are perfecting the voices and how natural they are on a regular basis. Should we try to catch up with them already right now? No. And so that wouldn't make sense. So what we're doing is we're doing a hybrid, and I think that that's important.
Right, and then it gives us control to help build your AI experience to be
absolutely
what it needs to be. Also wanted to share, we have an AI readiness checklist, and on that checklist, there's a couple good stats I wanted to point out too. So on the checklist, it also notes the source of the stats, but one of them is that 85% of callers won't call back if they get voicemail. $1.6 trillion is lost annually by businesses due to missed calls. So those are really big, important stats there. I'm going to promote this checklist on the stage here so you guys can check out that checklist. And then once it's there, you can click later too, or click on it. But that checklist kind of leads into, once you identify your readiness, we're going to go over the 5 phases of a successful AI agent implementation and rollout. The first phase is a test environment. Obviously, you want to deploy the AI agent in a controlled environment to validate call flows, validate the responses, and escalation rules before making it go live.
And I think that this is, for me, guys, if you're interested in this, if this is something that you're saying to yourself, well, maybe this would work for us, let's have that phone call. Again, as I told you, I got off one of these the other day in 22 minutes, and we're in the process of building that person's agent for them right now, and they will. Oh, well done, Kyle. I'm going to hit later because I don't need to click that link, but you guys could click that link. But I think it's really good to know we're building that POC now. That this client's going to be able to go and listen to the agent that we reviewed and that we discussed, within the next few days, and actually start testing it and hearing what it's all about. And so I think that test environment is really, really important, but it also will give you some confidence in, hey, you know what, this is going to work, because I think you're going to be amazed by what you hear. And I think that that's why these things are starting to take off. Okay, that was all. Phase 1.
Excellent. So phase 2, limited hours. So you want to go live during a narrow window, such as after hours. We keep referring back to the after hours scenario because it's a perfect area where there's a gap in coverage. So it's low risk. You're going to capture real world data, and you can easily roll back if needed.
Yeah. So again, you go through the POC, you call in a bunch of times, you have other members of your staff call in. It's doing what you think it's supposed to be doing. It feels good. What are we going to do now? Well, we're going to look for that insertion point. Where can we put this? Okay, let's try it on Wednesdays because, so-and-so is not in the office on Wednesday from 2 to 4. Perfect. Let's turn it on Wednesdays from 2 to 4. Let's turn it on after hours and then check in on it tomorrow. Listen to the calls that it took. See how they did. See how people reacted to it. Just look for those little windows where we can turn it on. Okay.
Phase 3, low volume periods. Expand to quieter periods like lunchtimes or weekends, and they're going to refine based on the outcomes and transfer rates as well.
Again, so this is a slow roll adoption model, right? We're not jumping into the deep end. Although there is always an argument for just jumping into the deep end. But in this particular case, we're seeing, okay, start small, introduce it slowly, introduce it quietly. So that you can understand and so that we can keep an eye on it and make sure that it does all the things that you're expecting it to do. Oh.
Phase 4, additional use cases. So you want to introduce new workflows such as appointment booking, lead intake. AI can, the agents can also manage frequently asked questions as well. So you want to measure customer experience at each step along the way.
Yeah, I mean, again, as I told you, we had a customer started with 1, and that has grown into upwards of 40 individual agents, all doing, some doing similar tasks, but again, asking the right questions, gathering information, Answering calls when folks are too busy to answer phone calls. If you're on the phone if you represent a whole bunch of different clients and you're on the phone with one client, gathering the information that they need so that they know how to call you back. It's also allowing people to prioritize work. So again, just continuing to grow. We had one that started as an auto attendant after hours and has now turned into, it is actually doing quotes. All right. It is actually quoting out for a specific portion of this business. As people call in after hours, it's actually doing sales and starting to generate revenue during hours when nobody was actually answering the phone before. And when somebody may have reached out to another company that did the same thing, and that company may have gotten the business because they actually were answering the phone call. So just really, really good to start to grow. I could go into all the different things that it could do, but it almost, if you could dream it up, it probably can do it at some level. But again, we take our time, we get it running, and then we start to add things to it, different portions of the business, et cetera, whether that's support or whether that's sales or whether, and we can start to add those over time.
All right. Fifth and final phase, a broader deployment. Scale only after proven results. Track your business impact, your staff efficiency, and customer satisfaction continuously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and again, that's the same thing that we just kind of reviewed, right? This phase 5 broader deployment, our first 4 or 5 that we did of this as we were in our early phases of turning these agents, they have all grown. Every single one of them has grown into something that does more than it did when we first turned it on. And they're continuing to grow. So this is the kind of thing that once you see what it's capable of and you start to feel how good it is, I think it'll grow with you. So we look forward to getting started with everybody. Hopefully everyone on this call anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So key takeaways. Start with a narrow use case. Find your efficiency insertion point. Start with that easy win. Take a look at, you'll be able to take a look at very easily, okay, how much did this cost me last month? I can tell you that we replaced an answering service, and I'm not good at these percentages of how much money we save people, but I believe that it was like they saved like 500% in the first month over what they're paying us compared with what they were paying. And that is a wild number. It went from being like a $1,200 bill to under $100. So I probably did that number wrong, and I apologize. This is not my sweet spot. All right. So start with that easy win. Define your workflows before deployment, right? So come to us. Let's have some conversations. Let's figure out, okay, where is that win? Where can we turn this on? Where can we put this? Let us build it for you. Try it. And that's that testing in a controlled environment. Okay. Oh, no. So we just got asked the question. It's a great question. Yes, I'd be happy to go over pricing today. So first of all, to enter into the program and to get a POC built for yourself costs you nothing. Okay. And that we will run that for you. We cap our POCs at about 10 business days. So I would say from first phone call to end of POC is usually about 15 business days. 5 to get it built, and then 10 to test and to move it to where it needs to go. As far as a monthly charge, we charge nothing. The way that AI works is we charge 50 cents a minute. If you go out into the industry, you'll find some folks who offer you, it's 200 minutes and it's, it's $100 a month. And then after that, it's 99 cents a minute, or maybe it'll be a little less than that. We've run into other companies that make you sign up, even to do a POC, they make you sign up for 6 months at $500 a month, right? So it's $3,000 out of the gate, even if you end up turning it off. The beauty of Votacall is that we charge a per minute rate. The per minute rate begins post POC. Once you're turning it on, it's going live. And then in that window. We do limit minutes, by the way, in the POC. We can go over that on the call. I mean, you can't have thousands of hours of phone calls running at this thing. We're going to do that behind the scenes using our AI models to make sure that it does what it's supposed to do before we even hand it to you. But we will go ahead and do that. You can turn it off whenever you want. Right? So you could call into support and you could say, hey, I'd like to redirect my calls to where they used to go instead of to the AI agent. And now the AI agent's off. We can then refine it, make any changes to it that you want, turn it back on. You're only being billed for live minutes that you're using. Okay. So I hope that answers the pricing question. Happy to go over that. Please go out and take a look at what other folks are doing. I feel very good about the AI pricing. The call we were on the other day was with a law firm, the one that went 22 minutes. I gave our pricing and they were like, wow, that's really good. They had already seen a bunch of pricing from some of these law specific ones. And it turns out that the law specific ones didn't do everything they needed it to do because they're not really tied in with the phone system. So, there's a lot of benefits to being tied in with the phone system. First of all, we're helping you manage that. So in terms of turning it on, there's no additional, we're not forwarding calls out to a third party and then trying to bring them back. And so you get a lot of better voice response. You get a lot of better voice quality. The speed, latency, all those kind of technical terms don't really come into play. So I think that's important. But from a pricing standpoint, Abigail, I hope that answered your question. If anybody else has questions, please type them away. I want to say thank you, as always, for being here. And thank you for coming and spending some time with us. We are not a big marketing engine. We just reach out to our customers, our clients. Most of our customers and clients have either been with us for 20 plus years through telecom or are coming to us through referrals. So we really do appreciate folks like you coming in and just spending a few minutes. If there's anything that anybody wants to reach out and talk about, reach out to Kyle, reach out to myself. I'd be happy to talk to you. You can reach out to our support team and say, hey, I was on the call the other day. I'd like to talk to somebody about AI agents. If you just want to have a conversation that's a little less formal, again, just reach out to Kyle and myself. I'd be happy to do that for you.
And if you want a little bit of reading, we have an AI agency book out today.
I think Kyle's working for the marketing department today. He's busy over here. Thank you to our marketing department for getting this stuff together. I joke that's one person who helps us get all this stuff going, and we're all having lots of conversations about AI agents and what they mean, and how to get them deployed and how to be successful. And we look forward to sharing that with you guys on this call as well. If you need anything else, please let us know. If not, again, thank you as always. There's some links to get to some other stuff, and I'm going to say bye.
All right. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.